sponsors, subsidiaries, or possibly anyone else on the planet. From high atop the historical hall building in beautiful downtown Coos Bay, it's the Rob Taylor Report. So strap yourself in. Your weekly political therapy session is about to begin. And ladies and
the crew, and you need any fuse for your cannons, we got some for you at the hole in the wall. You know, you can't get that stuff sent through FedEx, so it's kind of important to do that. We've got an interesting show today. For the next 2 hours, you're not going to get any commentary or opinion from me because I'm going to be the gentleman asking the questions today of a couple of candidates. And one of the things, if you're a resident of Coos County and you're living here in Oregon, the special district election is happening, and it will be held on May 21st, 2019. That's Tuesday, May 21st. You just got a couple of weeks left. And ballots will be mailed to all active registered voters on May 2nd. I know I've already gotten mine in the mail, and if you haven't gotten yours, you should be getting it by May 9th. So if you haven't received it by May 9th, you need to give a call over to the county clerk's office so that you can get that in the mail, or you can go over to the county clerk's office and get that taken care of at her office. You need to get that by Thursday, May 9th, so make sure you take care of that. And for voters who are new to Oregon, you must have your registration card postmarked or submit it to the Coos County Elections Office no later than April 30th, 2019, and that's already passed. So if you want it to be eligible to vote, you're too late to do that, but once again, the election is coming up on May 21st. So we've got a debate going on. I've called several of the people who are running for different positions in the school districts, Coos Bay School District and North Bend School District, and we had one gentleman from one of the other positions show up a couple of weeks ago, and we talked about what was happening at the school, at the North Bend School District, and what he wanted to do there as a school board member. And I'll be honest with you, I'd much rather have had a debate that we're having today, but it didn't work out, so we went ahead and have a conversation. And to be quite honest with you, when you have those conversations, sometimes it's a softball conversation because you start to, you get comfortable and familiar with someone. You're not going to nail them as hard with questions where they have a time limit to answer. So this is going to be a little bit different, and I got two people in here who are running for the North Bend School District, and here's the rules to the debate. All the candidates will receive 2 minutes for an opening statement. All the candidates will receive 2 minutes to answer the same question. If there is any time remaining after they answer the question, that candidate may follow up with an answer to another question, or they may make their own comment until the 2 minutes are up. So that's very important because 2 minutes may be well enough to answer some of the questions, but it may be not long enough to answer the other questions. So you can go back if you don't have enough, if you have more time with one of the answers that you respond with. All the candidates will receive 2 minutes for a closing statement. The candidates here are running for North Bend School District, District 13, and they're running for position number 4. And I want to thank Kristina, who was here, for correcting me on that because I had position number 7 that I sent out. And it's not a 4-year term, it's a 2-year term. So this is only for a 2-year term, and there's 3 people running. I only have 2 of them here. I did contact all 3 candidates. It was about a month to 6 weeks ago, and I contacted Roger Ryan, who is also running in this race, and he has not gotten back to me on the email. So, he doesn't get to have any time on today's debate. Too bad for him. Remember that when you're placing your ballots. But we do have Dallas Petenbrink. Did I pronounce that correctly, Dallas?
Absolutely not. It's okay. Dallas Petenbrink.
Petenbrink. That's right. Sounds painful.
It can be.
Kristina Simpson is the other candidate here. How are you doing, Kristina?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Oh, not a problem. I'm glad you both volunteered to come and be a victim on this debate because not a lot of people would do this. It is kind of a scary thing to do, and I'm glad you guys had the courage to stand up and face the piper, because you're going to have to do that when you're on the school board. You're going to have to answer these questions, and you're going to have a lot of questions that you'll never get from people like me, because we don't know the situation of all the parents who go to your school. And I've sat through enough school board meetings where you can get a question from a parent where you're just going to be, your mouth is going to drop open. You're going to go, wow, how do I even respond to that? So I hopefully will have some of those questions for you today. And so, we're going to do a coin toss here.
No need for a coin toss.
Oh, okay.
Ladies first.
Ladies first.
That's how that
Of
works.
course.
Okay, Kristina, you get the choice
welcome.
since he's given you the choice of being ladies first. You get the choice of either going first or passing back to him.
I will go ahead and pass.
All right.
See, that works nicely.
Hey,
All right.
no, it's fine with me. So I didn't do an opening statement.
All right.
Simply because I figured this is probably going to be more of a conversation than a debate. And I think Kristina probably feels the same way. I don't think arguing about what we're doing in our community is really helping our community. So it would be more about talking about the things that would make our community better, which is one of the reasons that I'm running for a school board, is to go in there and make things better. Spend a lot of time looking at what's happening in the school board. I do work closely with a lot of the North Bend students as they come into the college where I work currently. Hear a lot of their complaints. I hear a lot of the parents' complaints about the things that are happening, about what happened with Bill Lucero, about last year, the thing that happened with the flag issue they had. They had a what people were calling a Confederate flag, but apparently nobody studied history because that is not a Confederate flag. It's a battle flag. There's just ways that I think that things could run a little bit better, and I want to be a part of making those decisions for our students in the area. And that's really why I'm here. So I don't need my 2 minutes. That's it.
I was going to say you did it in a minute and a second. All right.
Yeah.
Good for you.
That's it.
All right. Well, Kristina, you want to give us an opening statement?
I would love to. So my name is Kristina Simpson, and I'm running for the North Bend School Board position number 4. So first of all, I just wanted to explain my reasoning behind running for the school board, as well as share a little bit of information about myself. I grew up in the Lake Oswego Westland area right outside of Portland, excuse me, and moved to this area about 8 years ago. I graduated from Corbin University in Salem with a bachelor's in psychology, youth and family studies, and I'm currently studying to get my master's in school administration. I currently work for the Coquel Indian Tribe as their Head Start director. I am also serving on the steering committee for the South Coast Regional Early Learning Hub, as well as the Early Learning Directors Committee. And some of my reasonings for running for the school board include my belief that education is the foundation, really, of our society, and that our future lays in the hands of those who are coming after us. I strongly believe in supporting students and families, and I really feel like ultimately if we're not doing our jobs as parents and just citizens and kind of giving back to our community in that way, that, our economy, I think, can prosper more if we put things into the hands of our students. And then also, I do have a belief that true education is not just what it's taught in schools, but it's a way of life. There's a lot of conversation around home-to-school partnerships, and I believe strongly in parents having a right to what their children are being taught, but I also believe that more trust needs to be built between home and school. I really believe in uplifting our teachers and our staff that are working in our school systems. I think that their work is often unnoticed and unappreciated. And ultimately, I feel I could benefit the board by bringing fresh perspective, but also being a voice for those who might feel like they are not heard. I would like to ensure.
You have time.
Okay. I would like to ensure that our school district is being responsive to the values, beliefs, and priorities of our community. And I believe that I could serve our community in this way. And I would like to give back to a community that has given a lot to me. So.
All right. Well, thank you very much. That was a good opening statement. We're going to start with a series of questions, and we are going to allow the callers to call in with their own questions. And if you want to call in, you can call in to 541-267-2124. And once again, that's 541-267-2124. And if you want to call in and ask questions of these candidates, please do. And with that, we'll be right back.
Stop in today to the all-new one-stop gun shop, Hole in the Wall Gun Shop in Coos Bay. Your area leader in quality firearms. Hole in the Wall Gun Shop proudly features the top brands of new and used handguns, hunting rifles, black rifles, antique and collectible guns, ammo, mace, and more. Gun cleaning and repair, expert advice, and handgun safety classes for concealed carry permits are offered too. So stop into Hole in the Wall Gun Shop across from Cumyons on Highway 101 South in Coos Bay. We buy, sell, or trade.
I'm the third generation of our family-owned and operated business, Ragin' Coffee Company. For a quarter of a century, we have been providing some of the best coffee around. We are NOP certified organic by Oregon Tilth since 2007. We make it easy by offering free shipping from our website, RaygenCoffeeCo.com. That's RAYJEN coffeeco.com. You can find the packaged coffee at Bandon Coffee Cafe, Coastal Mist, and McKay's in Bandon. Give it a try. Ragin' Coffee. You'll be hooked.
At the Boomin' Y, and Gibbs RV is looking for nice pre-owned RVs to consign or buy. Gibbs RV makes it so simple. They will come to your location, give you a fair appraisal, and help take care of all the paperwork. It doesn't get any easier than that. So let the professionals at Gibbs RV take the hassle out of selling or consigning your RV. Stop by and see them today at 1845 Ocean Boulevard in Coos Bay by the Big Boomin' Y in Empire, or check them out at GibbsRV.com.
We're back in session. It's the Rob Taylor Report. And here he is, Rob Taylor.
Once again, you're joining the Rob Taylor Report, and if you have any questions for two candidates for the North Bend School District, they're running for position number 4. It's a 2-year term. We have Kristina Simpson and Dallas Petenbrink.
Good job. Good job.
Wow, that's a tough one.
You should try it when you're about 3 or 4 years old and they ask you to spell that out.
I used to live in Albuquerque, so I know what spelling difficulties there are.
Yeah, me too. Went to Del Norte High School and Manzano High School there.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we can't get personal here. So let's get back to the questions. And we're going to start with Dallas here. And you are going to be asked this question, and this is for both of you. Okay. I asked one question for both of you to answer. And do you believe in the capitalist economic system? And do you consider yourself a capitalist? Or do you consider yourself a socialist? And do you believe America should be...
Eventually gives way to military rule is what ends up happening there. You break it down. I don't want to keep working for somebody else not to work, and why do I want to do more so they do less? So there's a lot of give up there. So no, I'm definitely a capitalist, and I would like to stay that way.
All right, good answer. Go ahead, Kristina.
I would have to also agree with Dallas. I am a capitalist. There's a lot of things regarding socialism that I do not agree with personally. I think that society as a whole works better through capitalism and not through socialism.
All right, very good. All right.
Can I add one more thing? Or
my perspective, I have more traditional views as far as family goes, and I feel like we need more of traditional views in our schools. So,
all right, thank you very much. Statewide, this past fiscal year, public education lost nearly $100 million from the state sharing fund in potential revenue because of the urban renewal activity that siphoned it away from the school sharing fund department. As a school board member, you may have to vote on these taxing districts. Will you vote in favor of increasing or expanding these taxing agencies or areas for the urban renewal?
I'm assuming it's me, or
no, actually,
we'll go back
Kristina.
to Kristina.
Yeah.
Okay.
Honestly, I'm just going to be honest here. I don't know a lot about that, but I do know that when it comes to taxes, I'm not always in favor of making taxes be something that's highly regulated and making more taxes. I feel like people already pay enough taxes. So for me, where's the funding coming from? How is it going to be used? And how is it going to benefit our schools and our students? I think that's what it comes back to for me, is the foundation of education. And if it will benefit our students and our schools, then I'm for it. And if it won't, then I am not in favor of it. So.
All right. Thank you. Would you answer the same question there, Dallas?
Yes, sir. So definitely not in favor of urban renewal districts. I don't like the idea of the fact that they are like a credit card for a municipality, where they can extend beyond their means, their spending, and they can do it at the expense of education, and that's not a good thing. I think the money that should be allocated for education should go to education. I do, like Kristina, believe that they already receive enough money, and I think that the problem is now that we just don't spend it in the right places, doing the right things. And we can do a better job of that. One of the things that I want to do when I do get on the board is that accountability and finding where we're spending the money well, where we're not spending the money well, and we need to start cutting those things off.
All right. Thank you very much. To follow up with that question, this is one of those where, as a school board member, you may never have a choice over this either way. But as far as your own personal opinion, do you think that the legislators up in Salem should just continue the process of allowing the Oregon State School Fund to lose money to the urban renewal activity? And I'm going to start with Dallas on that one.
So the simple answer to that is no. Like, I don't think that the school fund should be giving money to the urban renewal. Again, it's a credit card for municipalities. They get to spend before they get the tax back, so then they use it later on. So it actually costs you in two ways. So you're paying it for the schools, it gets taken from the schools, and then we have to pay it back to the municipality so that they can pay it back. So I don't like the idea of that. I think the money that goes for schools should go to schools. I don't like what we're doing now with the unions and the state legislature trying to tax us into oblivion right now because they haven't done their job in spending their money wisely. So here we are. We're looking at what $2 billion this legislative session just to get into education. I feel that all too often the legislatures use the children as the crowbar to pry money out of our pockets. By telling us, we don't have enough money for them, and so then they tax us saying it's for education, and then always saying that education never has enough money. And they've been saying it the entire time I've lived in Oregon, which has been well over 20 years, and I don't think there's been a year that's come out where I haven't heard that we need more money for education. And I've also heard that our education isn't what it should be.
Yeah.
So if we're always saying we need more money for education, and our education isn't what it should be, maybe it's not the money that's not making education what it should be. And that's that fresh perspective that we're talking about, where you should maybe look at other things, because obviously we're spending the money. But sometimes we're taking the money for the wrong things, like these urban renewal districts. And I think it's time to take that hard look at those finances and see where we're putting the money and find out if there's a more effective way to spend the money in our area.
Okay, Kristina, you want to answer that question as well?
I would have to agree with Dallas. My answer would also be no on that question. And one word that comes to my mind is just accountability. I feel like when money is getting delegated out of our pockets from the hardworking people and going to the state, and the state is dispersing it kind of how they see fit, there needs to be a higher level of accountability there. Really, it's our money, and it comes from us, from working full time, from being away from our families. Lots of things kind of go into that, but I would say that that we should be the ones kind of in charge of choosing where it goes. And if we're not in charge of that, then there's a system. Our system is broken in that way. So my answer would also be no.
All right, thank you very much, Bill. We're gonna have to go to a commercial. All right, with that, we'll be right back.
Most car wash in Empire, Coos Bay, or visit TomandGiggs.com.
Bigger is better. Before you choose your adventure, make sure your 4x4 is modified and ready to reach uncharted areas. Leave your cares behind and all the work to the experts at Tom and Giggs Automotive. From diesel power to towing access, the Bay Area's top 4x4 performance headquarters will help you get ready for wheeling and down the trail. Pick up all the necessities and the I've got to have it's on the showroom floor. Get your rig adventure ready the right way with Tom and Giggs Automotive, your 4x4 performance headquarters, one block past the Boom & Y in Empire, and online TomandGiggs.com.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, Genucel right now is having their 50% off limited time sale. It's their half price clearance sale. And if you order Genucel to get rid of bags and puffiness under your eyes, you'll also get Chamonix's brand new Platinum Tan Enhancing Body Lotion. That's a free gift. perfect hydration, tan, and protection to rejuvenate, hydrate, maintain that bright summer glow with a lotion unlike anything you can buy in any store. So sit back, relax, enjoy the beach with the best-looking skin possible and no bags or puffiness under your eyes. They're gone. Everybody I know that's tried Genucel from Chamonix loves it, swears by it. Linda, Lauren, and so many others. Call now, 800-SKIN-509, 800-SKIN-509, guaranteed to work in 12 hours. Your money back guaranteed, no risk to you. You'll also get the Platinum Tan Enhancing Body Lotion free while supplies last. And if you call now, shipping is free. It's 800-SKIN-509. It's the half-price summer clearance sale at Genucel.com. 1-800-SKIN-509 from our friends at Chamonix and Genucel.
Investments and securities involve the risk of loss. Ken Fisher, founder and executive chairman of Fisher Investments.
We don't sell annuities. We'll never sell annuities. Most annuities have nosebleed level fees, don't do what the customer thinks they do, have tremendous tax problems, are hard to get out of once you're in them, and are extremely confusing.
Don't let the sound of guaranteed income lead you to financial headache. Call now for your free report, Annuity Insights, and find out why legendary money manager Ken Fisher hates annuities. Call 1-800-770-3377 and see what you might be getting into.
Anything you want to do with annuities, there's a better way to do. If you have more than $500,000 to invest, talk to us.
Get your free report, Annuity Insights, and find out the 9 questions every annuity investor should ask. Call now, 1-800-770-3377. That's 1-800-770-3377.
There's a common assumption about identity theft. A lot of people believe it's just credit card fraud, but credit card fraud isn't the only form of identity theft. And if you're just protecting your identity by monitoring your credit and checking your bank statements, well, you could miss some forms of identity theft. Like, for example, your information being for sale on the dark web. That means somebody getting an online payday loan in your name, or even someone draining your 401k. Now, thank God there's LifeLock. Now, they use proprietary technology to detect and alert you to a wide range of identity threats. You have a problem, one of their U.S.-based restoration specialists will work to fix it. Now, we can't prevent all identity theft, monitor every transaction, but with LifeLock.com, you can see more than you'd see by just monitoring your credit. Join now. You get a 10% discount just by visiting LifeLock.com/Hannity, or just call 1-800-LifeLock. Use the promo code Hannity. LifeLock.com/Hannity and save 10%.
Hi, I'm Rich Waters for Jim Vick Auto Sales. For those of you that know me, you know that my family and I have dealt with Jim Vick for more years than we'd like to admit. I've always known Jim as a look you in the eye and deal on a handshake kind of guy. You may have heard that Jim retired recently, but I'm here to set the record straight. Jim is still selling great-looking, clean, exclusive cars at his new location just down the street from his former location. He's now at 2091 Broadway, and he keeps a display of his best cars right there for you to see and drive. Let my friend Jim Vick put you in the right car on your budget. Jim Vick Auto Sales, now at 2091 Broadway in North Bend. Jim will work with you all the way to make sure you have the car and the deal you want. As Jim Vick himself would say, wait a minute. Here he is to say it himself.
Remember, if I can't save you money, I don't deserve your business.
Jim Vick Auto Sales.
We're back in session. It's the Rob Taylor Report. And here he is, Rob Taylor.
Hey, everyone. Thank you for joining us. We're in the middle of a campaign debate for the North Bend School District. It's for position number 4. It's a 2-year term. We're with Dallas Petenbrink and Kristina Simpson. And if you want to call in with your question, and by the way, you'll only get to ask a question, no commentary or opinion. If you would like to ask a question of these two for that position on the North Bend School District, please call us at 541-267-2124. I'm continuing here with these questions. This one is, I can't remember who was the last one to answer. I think it was Kristina.
No,
I think you went first
she answered last.
time.
So I went first last time, so this should be for her.
This is for you, Kristina. Thank you for keeping me on track there, Dallas.
Hey, that's what we're here for.
How much money should the state government... Wait a minute. Let me... Hold on. I can't read my own questions. The politicians in Salem have introduced a $2 billion business sales tax, HB 3427, for more funding for Oregon public schools. It will force businesses to charge higher costs for everyday items such as clothing and other home goods. This will be a hidden tax, so the customer will not see the tax added to their receipts. Furthermore, government will tax business on their sales, not profits. Do you support this tax, HB 3427?
I think I would say yes on that. I am not always in favor of extra sales tax, like I just kind of explained earlier in one of your other questions. But I think if it is going towards our public schools, then that would be something that I would be in favor of. I put a lot of importance on educating our students and what this looks like for our future. And I think that we need to make certain choices around money and taxes, and sometimes that's daily sacrifices that we make, but looking at the long-term future benefits for that, and that includes pouring into our students' lives. So,
all right, thank you very much. Dallas, you want to answer that question?
I think this is somewhere where we finally disagree. I have to say I disagree mostly because it's going to be a funding bill that is not going to go to the public, and Oregon has written into its constitution that anything that is a tax has to be voted on by the public. And since this is only going to be voted on by the legislature, and they're going to do it and just put it in, I would say as a history person, that is against our constitution, and that's something that that people here in Oregon we need to read again. To make sure that they're doing for us what we've allowed them to do, because they work for us, and so I don't think that this is how we're going to pass this tax. If they want this tax passed, I'm totally willing to accept the results, but we need to put it out to the people and put that out there. But as far as the money right now, right now they'll say it's for education, and then what happens later on? I mean, do we reallocate that money? I haven't read the bill completely to find out exactly where everything goes, if it is actually set that way. But I do know that the way their funding formula works right now is education has such a percentage of the total budget of Oregon. And so they're mandated to actually budget certain amounts. So I don't know if this would become part of that mandated amount or not. But if it did just stay for schools and they wanted to pass it, then that's great. If not, I think we do need to take a hard look at what we're funding now and make sure that that's put in there. Because I think one of the issues that we have, and I know a lot of listeners, if there's anybody out there in the school districts that kind of hear this way, is, a lot of us have worked service level jobs. I know I did. I'm pretty sure you probably did. When you're earning a degree, you're flipping burgers or you're doing whatever it takes. But while you're out there doing that, you're actually in a different system than a lot of the people who are working in education, which is where you get promoted, hired, and fired based on your performance. And when you are with school folks,
finish your thought.
Okay, when you get to the schools, it doesn't really work that way. When you're in a union, it's based on longevity, and the union will fight for them regardless. And so you don't get to hire and fire based on whether or not they're doing a good job. So while you might have somebody who finished the same school as the person next to them, both of them may not be as good as instructors as they should be, and we can't just get rid of them if they've been there, and the union protects them. So those are things.
Okay, we're going to go on to a follow-up question, and then I've got a caller who's going to ask a question of you. And I got a follow-up question to this because they're going to be planning, or they have planned, a walkout for several of the school districts concerning this tax. Do you think it is fair to the parents and for the prop? And do you think it's fair for the parents and proper for the teachers to join the planned walkout they have scheduled for May 8th? And Dallas, you can start with that one.
So is it fair? Wait, sorry. Could you read the question one more time?
Yeah. Do you think it's fair to the parents and proper for the teachers to join a planned walkout for this that is scheduled for this Wednesday, May 8th?
So I guess the short answer is no. I don't think it's fair. I think they're now wasting money that we've paid as taxpayers for them to be there teaching at school, so that they can come out and waste that money asking for more money. Just we're already spending money for you to do your job. Let the legislatures do their work and work on that funding. I don't think it's their job to be out there on school time. If you want to do that when you're not working, then I think that's great. I think you're just like any other citizen. You go out and you advocate for students or whatever it is that you want to advocate for, that there may be a bill in the House or the Senate. But I don't think that you do that on our time, because we've paid you to do a job, and you're saying that it can't be done because you don't have enough money, but you're taking your time and our money away from that issue so that you can go and complain that you don't have enough time and money. So I think do your job and do that on your own time. I'm totally down for that.
All right. Go ahead, Kristina, if you want to answer
So
that.
my understanding regarding this topic is that the students, or the staff, so the teachers and the parents are doing a walkout because as far as this next fiscal year comes around, their pay will be deducted. That was my understanding. That's part of this bill, is that they will be paid less. I'm not sure. I think a lot of times when decisions are made, the delivery is incredibly important. How we want to get our point across is incredibly important. I think that there's a respectful way to do that, but as well, focusing on the balance. We do have free speech in this country, and they can go and walk out if that's something that they want to do. But I do agree with Dallas as far as taking, we're paying these individuals, they are really in charge of our students, our children at this time. And I know that parents have been notified of this walkout, but is this really the most appropriate way to get your point across? I think sometimes trying to get our point across can actually have a reverse effect. And I don't always think that walking out and kind of demonstrating it in like a protest is always the best way to really say how you're feeling. Sometimes I think that, the trust, this is where the trust between schools and staff and parents and families comes into play. And demonstrating protest in this way, is that building trust, or is that breaking trust? Is that building partnership, or is it breaking partnership? And I think if you're doing the opposite of what you really are intending to do, then you're kind of defeating the purpose. That's my opinion. But again, I think that staff, they obviously have that right to do that, and they are doing that. But at the same time, how can we, as a school district, come together and figure out these problems in a more effective way? I think there needs to be more open communication going on, and I think that these staff need to feel heard in some way. And I think that that's part of the problem.
All right, thank you very much. We're going to go to the caller on the line, and her name is Eleanor. Eleanor, you got a question for these two candidates? Yes. Yes, that's the small business tax, and they're trying to raise $2 billion in funding. Yes.
Yeah. And Ms. Simpson, are you aware of the fact that that tax is to come from businesses and not on their profit, but on their growth, whether they make anything or not?
I was not aware of that. And to be honest with you, I do not know a lot about that tax. I haven't really done a lot of research on that. Usually,
well, you do now.
Yes, I do now.
That puts it in a whole different ballpark, and I'm sure you'll want to consider that.
Definitely. And after hearing Dallas's response to that question as well, I think I probably would have changed my answer on that, given the opportunity. Like I said, I'm not. Go ahead.
You have it now.
I do. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Thank you, Eleanor. I appreciate that.
I'm from many years of education, so I know all the pitfalls. Thank you.
Thanks for calling in.
Thank you, Eleanor. I appreciate that very much. We've got a giveaway, and then we're going to go to a commercial, but this is my favorite part of the show because I know everyone's out there with their, and you guys can't win, so don't pull out your phone.
Wait a second. Oh, man.
I'm sorry.
Should I do the drum roll?
Yeah, drum roll, really. Well, if you want to win out there in Radio Land, you want to win a one free small McCafe beverage coupon, a breakfast sandwich of your choice coupon, or a free dessert of your choice, and a sheet of buy one, get one free coupons. All you have to do is be the third caller at 541-267-2124, and we'll be right back.
Spring. Here at Bayshore Auto.
Nope, the other one was.
Looking for a new or used firearm? You should get to know the friendly folks at World Pawn Exchange. Located at 1980 Sherman in downtown North Bend, World Pawn Exchange buys, sells, and trades firearms of all types. And with their extensive, ever-changing inventory, they could have just the right firearm for you. If they don't have that gun that you want in stock, they'll be more than happy to special order it for you. World Pawn Exchange in downtown North Bend, where you'll find more than you can possibly imagine.
There's no reason to guess. The verdict is in, and the solid winner continues to be Herbal Choices.
I think everyone knows why Herbal Choices is the leader.
You and I see Herbal Choices the same way, like a part of our family. They know me when I come in, and they're always happy to show me all that's new, including Jim Belushi's new harvest.
Hi, Jim Belushi here. My Belushi Farms private vault is exclusively here, Southern Oregon coast at Herbal Choices. Check it out. It's the only choice.
And no matter where you are, Herbal Choices is close by. Coos Bay, Charleston, and Bandon. They always keep me updated on their website at www.theherbalchoices.com.
No one can compete with Herbal Choices prices. They now have so many locations that they buy large quantities and pass the savings along to their customers. It's their people, friendly, always ready to help with knowledgeable answers. It's like dealing with family.
Do not operate a vehicle under the influence of marijuana. For use by people 21 and older, keep out of the reach of children.
We're back in session. It's the Rob Taylor Report. And here he is, Rob Taylor.
Hey, everybody. Thank you for joining us. We are in the middle of a debate here, and we're asking questions of some of the candidates for the North Bend School District. And I'm going to switch it now because we've been asking a lot of financial questions, and I know there are a lot of other issues that people would like to hear about. And one of them is, what grade should schools start implementing sex education in classroom courses? And we'll start with Dallas on that one.
Wow. So
That's a tough question.
that is a tough question because, I think we did it when I was in fourth.
Mm-hmm. I was in fourth grade.
Yeah, I was fourth grade, and they kind of pulled us aside, and I don't think I have a problem with that. Around 10 years old, you get 9, 10, you start to actually, at least I remember that way, that I started to become aware of my sexuality, and I kind of wanted to cover up and wanted my space at home. So I would say probably somewhere between fourth and fifth. I think it was okay where it was when I was in school. So. I'm not sure when we do it now. If you know something that I don't know, I mean, you do early childhood education, so I know you guys probably don't do anything there, or maybe you do. Yeah.
Go ahead and answer.
So it's more gender specific, obviously male, female. That more education related to that. But as far as like sexuality, orientation, those kinds of things, I would say fourth grade is appropriate. I think when you can combine real life experiences with what you're learning. You can max out on your education, and students can actually learn because they're dealing with it every single day. And usually, girls usually start, that time of life, usually right around, fourth grade. And that's when hormones really start changing. Scientifically, if you want to base it off of science, I'd say between, about fourth, fifth grade is appropriate. So.
All righty then. Well, let's go to another subject. What do you think the district should do to prevent mass shootings? And this is going to you, Kristina.
Okay. So this is something that I've worked on firsthand basis with the current program that I work for, with the Head Start program that I currently am the director of. And we have current evacuation plans. We have a lockdown procedure that we practice on a monthly basis. And so one thing, I think there needs a policy in place, and I think that the policy needs to be implemented, practiced regularly, or at least very methodically and really following the policy to a T. I think that teachers, I am for the Second Amendment. I will say that. I think that is based off our Constitution. And as far as, how are we supposed to be protecting our students? That is a topic of conversation that, is a very, touchy topic. A lot of people are very opinionated around that. So, but I think if you go through the right avenues and you have the right training and you actually have individuals who know what they are doing, And I also think that there's a partnership built there between schools and our local police stations. I think that we need to make sure that we're collaborating with them and deciding on certain safety or emergency preparedness procedures with them, along with them, because they are really the experts in that field. So,
all right, thank you very much. Dallas, you want to answer that question?
So when we're talking about school shootings and how to avoid them, I really think it comes down to, in the beginning, is being diligent and paying attention. And I think instructors, educators in particular, and administration need to have the training to kind of understand how to judge mental health, like at least basic stuff. When you see a student who is reasonable performer, exceptional performer, low performer, and anything changes in a significant way, I think your instructors are the first ones that should be able to see that. They should be taught to sort of recognize those patterns, and we should look to try and intervene maybe there and see if we can do something, because I think a lot of times it starts at that point, and they get that grows, they get some resentment, and those students end up becoming the bad actors. So observation, diligence on the part of those guys. The other thing would be to have a little more protection in there. I know that when I was a kid, we didn't have gun-free zones. I had a hunting rifle in the back of my vehicle and drove to campus and never shot anyone. We respected those things because we had them. We weren't afraid of them. We actually had classes on a lot of that gun safety courses. They were actually taught at school. So I think familiarity with that kind of thing make it so that it's not, I guess, a taboo item to have. And then the third thing would be that, that we could maybe, and it'd be a voluntary thing anyway, would be if we could arm instructors. If people would like to be armed to protect themselves or students, that there be a protocol to judge whether or not you'd be able to carry on campus, i.e. a training program where you have to train with the local and law enforcement agencies in order to pass proficiency to be able to carry around students. I don't just think that anybody should be able to do that and grab a gun and go, but I do think that people that are trained and have passed a proficiency that a local law enforcement would agree with, that they should be able to put their life on the line if they wanted to protect their students. I think that's a thing.
Now, that's the practical way. You both gave an answer of how to stop or prevent a mass shooting, but can you tell me, what would you do to alleviate people's fears, rational or irrational? And what I mean by this is that right now you have 1 in 4 million chance of getting shot in a school, whereas you have 1 in 40,000 chance of getting hit by a drunk driver going back and from school. So some people have a lot of fear over something that may be irrational. How do you deal with the fear? Tough one, huh?
So fear is not something you can really. I mean, it starts with the media, and the problem is that we have media all day, every day. If I've got a guy jumping off a building, and there's only one guy in one town in the entire United States, and I've got every media outlet covering it for 24 hours a day while this guy is standing on a ledge and they're trying to talk him down, suddenly every business is now going to have training on how to deal with somebody who might want to open a window and step out on a ledge, because now it's a thing because we're worried about it. It's the same that happened when we were younger, probably, where we had stranger danger, where you don't talk to somebody because every kid was going to get kidnapped. And now we have it where there are places where you actually have to put in an ordinance, and I think Idaho was one of the places that did it, where you can allow kids in a neighborhood to have free play because parents were getting ticketed or arrested for letting their kids go to a park unsupervised. And when I was a kid, we left. Mom said, come home when the street light comes on. She had no idea what I was doing. But nowadays, if you aren't standing right there next to them, in certain places, you might be ticketed or you might be arrested for negligence. And now, like I said, in Idaho, I think it was, they actually passed a free play ordinance where you can actually allow your child to just leave your house, which I thought was okay already.
We called it growing up.
Yeah, you skinned your knee and you came home crying, Mom, I hurt myself, and she doctored you up and you went back out and you did it again. Fear is just, it gets manufactured, I think, mostly because everybody's covering the same story all the time, and then it becomes, part of the consciousness. And since it's right there in front of your face, it's something you feel you have to deal with right now. And so we deal with everything that gets put in front of us by the media, and that creates that fear. I think we just treat it like a normal thing.
All right, and within 2 minutes, good deal. Kristina, go ahead and answer the same question.
So I think when we are talking about emotions such as fear, which is a very strong emotion, we should always also be talking about how are we educating people to get over that fear. I think a lot of times we base facts off of things that aren't concrete or true. I've heard of facts and I'm like, wait a second, that's not true and that's not real. And I also think that that's where the media comes into play. We as individuals and as a society, we can't just be basing all of our information off of the media. We need to be going out there and doing our own research on topics. We need to be educating ourselves. We need to be gathering all kinds of information and then formulating what we believe is true or what is actually true based off evidence, not just what, we're being taught to believe through TV or what we're hearing or what we're seeing. And so I think that when it comes to fear, we need to be making sure that we're educating ourselves apart from things that really have their own motive or undertone, and mastering that fear, being able to say, look, like, how can we find a solution to this? Not just solely focusing on the fear, but finding a solution for that problem or that issue that we're facing. So
very good. I like both of your answers on that one. Do you think the school district should allow people then to carry people who have concealed handgun license? Do you think it's that 4:00 hour. So you're going to have to wait until after this break to get that answer. And with that, we'll be right back.
This is 630 and 101.1 FM. Listen online at KWRO.com.
No Trump taxes, the Russia probe. I'm Ann Cates. The Treasury Department has turned down a request for 6 years' worth of President Trump's personal and business taxes. Correspondent Lauren Fox on what the chairman of the House Ways and Means Committee is planning next.
Richard Neal has been clear that he's been building and preparing for a court case. He never expected this to come easily. Back when I interviewed him in November, he said that this was all about going slowly, being careful, being deliberate, making sure that all the ducks were in line for when the inevitable court case came to be. And obviously, it seems like we're moving forward with that sooner than later.
The Justice Department says it will issue a formal legal opinion on its ruling about the tax returns. The House Judiciary Committee, meanwhile, will decide later this week how to handle a decision by Attorney General William Barr.
The committee meets Wednesday to put together a contempt citation after Barr missed his deadline today to turn over special counsel Robert Mueller's unredacted report on Russian election interference. The citation comes after Democrats gave Barr a deadline of 9 a.m. Eastern Time to provide the report as well as the underlying evidence. He missed last week's deadline as well, and he declined to appear before the House Judiciary Committee to testify about the Mueller report. Barr had offered to allow only selected members of Congress to see a less redacted version of the report in a secure room, something the committee has rejected. Linda Kenyon, Washington.
Masters winner Tiger Woods has been awarded the Presidential Medal of Freedom. Woods spoke at a White House ceremony today.
I know that I'm the fourth golfer to have received this award. The late Arnold Palmer, the great Jack Nicklaus, and Charlie Sifford, I always called him Grandpa because he was like the grandpa I never had. And I ended up becoming so close with him that I ended up naming my son Charlie after him.
On Wall Street, losses today. The Dow Jones Industrial Average fell 66 points. The S&P 500 closed down 13. The Nasdaq off by 41 points. I'm Ann Cates.
Here's some great
news. If you missed the deadline to sign up for health insurance, or more importantly, if you sign up for a plan that you're just not happy with, you still have a choice. It's called Medishare, and Medishare is a Christian healthcare sharing program. It's been around for 25 years. They have more than 400,000 members now around the country. And get this, over the years, Medishare members have shared more than $2 billion of each other's medical bills, so they could help share your needs too. And best of all, you could save a lot of money with Medishare. The typical savings for a family is around $500 a month. Your savings could be more or less, but think about what you could do with that extra money every month. So if you think you're stuck with a high-cost health plan that doesn't have much to offer, think again. You can join Medishare anytime, so call them today and check it out. There's no pressure. They're super easy to talk to. 844-91-BIBLE. That's 844-91-BIBLE. 844-91-BIBLE.
A new survey suggests when it comes to asking for help, most in-store shoppers would rather turn to their phones than a salesperson.
More and more of us do our shopping online. Even so, more than 8 in 10 Americans visit a store besides the grocery store every week. And when they do, the vast majority would rather look for a product review or a good deal on their smartphone than talk to a sales associate. The survey conducted on behalf of the website Retail Me Not says almost half have an app on their phones to collect and offer deals and discounts, and well more than half say collecting mobile coupons they can redeem in-store is an important plus for brick-and-mortar shopping. I'm Jan Johnson.
Lord & Taylor, one of the country's oldest department stores, may be put up for sale. Owner Hudson's Bay announced today it has hired a financial advisor to review Lord & Taylor's business and that the process may lead to a sale or merger. I'm Ann Cates.
Non-attorney spokesperson ad sponsored by Open Jar Concepts. Attention veterans and active duty military. If you were issued earplugs between 2002 and 2016 and were diagnosed with hearing loss or ringing in the ears, you may be entitled to compensation. The manufacturer of these military earplugs recently paid $9.1 million to resolve claims that their earplugs were defective, potentially exposing service members to damaging sound levels that could have resulted in hearing loss or tinnitus. If you or a loved one were issued earplugs and were diagnosed with tinnitus or hearing loss, don't wait. You fought for this country, and our attorneys want to fight for you. Call 800-413-3953 now for a free legal consultation and to see if you may be eligible to file a claim. Time restrictions may apply, and you pay nothing unless there's a recovery in your favor. So call 800-413-3953 now. Again, 800-413-3953. That's 800-413-3953.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, Genucel right now is having their 50% off limited time sale. It's their half price clearance sale. And if you order Genucel to get rid of bags and puffiness under your eyes, you'll also get Chamonix's brand new Platinum Tan Enhancing Body Lotion. That's a free gift. Perfect hydration, tan, and protection to rejuvenate, hydrate, maintain that bright summer glow with a lotion unlike anything you can buy in any store. So sit back, relax, enjoy the beach with the best looking skin possible and no bags or puffiness under your eyes. They're gone. Everybody I know that's tried Genucel from Chamonix loves it, swears by it. Linda, Lauren, and so many others. Call now, 800-SKIN-509, 800-SKIN-509, guaranteed to work in 12 hours. Your money back guaranteed, no risk to you. You'll also get the Platinum Tan Enhancing Body Lotion free while supplies last. And if you call now, shipping is free. It's 800-SKIN-509. It's the half-price summer clearance sale at Genucel.com. 1-800-SKIN-509 from our friends at Chamonix and Genucel.
Investments and securities involve the risk of loss. Ken Fisher, founder and executive chairman of Fisher Investments.
We don't sell annuities. We'll never sell annuities. Most annuities have nosebleed level fees, don't do what the customer thinks they do, have tremendous tax problems, are hard to get out of once you're in them, and are extremely confusing.
Don't let the sound of guaranteed income lead you to financial headache. Call now for your free report, Annuity Insights, and find out why legendary money manager Ken Fisher hates annuities. Call 1-800-770-3377 and see what you might be getting into.
Anything you want to do with annuities, there's a better way to do. If you have more than $500,000 to invest, talk to us.
Get your free report, Annuity Insights, and find out the 9 questions every annuity investor should ask. Call now, 1-800-770-3377. That's 1-800-770-3377.
There's a common assumption about identity theft. A lot of people believe it's just credit card fraud, but credit card fraud isn't the only form of identity theft. And if you're just protecting your identity by monitoring your credit and checking your bank statements, well, you could miss some forms of identity theft. Like, for example, your information being for sale on the dark web. That means somebody getting an online payday loan in your name, or even someone draining your 401k. Now, thank God there's LifeLock. Now, they use proprietary technology to detect and alert you to a wide range of identity threats. You have a problem, one of their U.S.-based restoration specialists will work to fix it. Now, we can't prevent all identity theft, monitor every transaction, but with LifeLock.com, you can see more than you'd see by just monitoring your credit. Join now. You get a 10% discount just by visiting LifeLock.com/Hannity, or just call 1-800-LifeLock. Use the promo code Hannity. LifeLock.com/Hannity and save 10%.
We're back in session. It's the Rob Taylor Report. And here he is, Rob Taylor.
Hey, everybody. Thank you for joining us here at the wonderful palatial studios here at the Hall building. We are doing everything we can to get this to work properly, but you know how those things go. There's a lot of things that work out in these new systems. We're having a debate right now, and I'm talking with two candidates from the North Bend School District who are running for the North Bend School District to be on the school board, and we're asking them a few questions right now, and they are in the process of answering those questions. So I had a question that I was asking you before the break, and one of the things that we were talking about was school shootings, and I wanted to ask you that school students who are grade ages 6 through 12, and this is something that was a bill for this year in the legislature, should students 6 through 12 undergo annual mandatory mental health examinations, especially for violent tendencies? And I'm going to start with, I believe, Kristina was the last one to answer.
Okay. So I think this is something that needs to be a little bit more individualized. The only reason I wouldn't agree with every single student receiving some kind of mental health examination is because I think for me that mental health, an assessment like that, that's that specialized and that unique, needs to be taken, it needs to be a little bit more of a thorough process. I don't think that every single student should receive some kind of assessment like that. But I think that if you're a teacher or a faculty and you see maybe a red flag in a student, maybe then require that the student go and get that mental health exam done. But I don't think every single student should be like a requirement. I think that it should be something that either maybe the parents come to the school board or the superintendent or whoever is involved in that process and say, hey, this has been happening in my home. I would like your help in maybe supporting my child in getting this assessment done. Or if a teacher sees something in class or hears something, then maybe taking the necessary steps to get that done for that particular student. But as far as in every single student, I don't think that that's something that is really appropriate. I think that there's a more thorough process when it comes to, like that kind of procedure. I don't think that it should be in every single student a requirement on an annual basis.
Very good. Dallas, you want to answer that question?
So I think I sort of answered this one already when we were talking about, violence in schools. And it goes to the same thing where I think it's diligence on the part of instructors and other folks in the schools, where if you see something happening like that, where you see them in a downward spiral, or you see something that's out of character for that student, that I wouldn't say we would require anything. I don't like the government requiring a subjective view of a student to pull somebody. I don't think there's a requirement, but I think if we're doing our due diligence for these students, that we'd be doing them a disservice if we didn't ask that at least somebody talk to them to find out if they are okay, and to put it that way. But I'm definitely not on board for mandatory testing of something that's completely subjective. It's not like you're going into the DMV and you're taking a test and everybody gets the same one. This is subjective. So one provider may be 100% better than the second provider, and those people, they come up with different results. It's like getting your your writing paper examined by multiple writing instructors. Somebody likes commas, somebody doesn't, and it's not the same thing. So it's totally subjective. I don't like the mandatory feature of that, but I do like the fact that if that people pay attention, do your diligence with your students, and speak up when you see something, so that we can help these youth before they get down the rabbit hole and something bad happens.
All right. With that, I got a follow-up question with that. Right now, we're having an increase in people and teachers who are leaving the classroom, and part of the problem is they're complaining that they're not getting the proper backup from the district or the administration for the disruptions in the classroom. What would you do to alleviate that problem? And I'm going to start with Dallas on that one.
Well, I think the simple answer is one word, and it's something that we've avoided for a long time, and that's discipline. I think that we don't teach discipline to the parents, so we don't help them out with that. We don't do it in the schools as much because we want to let them kind of freely express themselves. The problem is that at some point their free expression becomes a disruption to a class, and I think that's what these instructors are really upset about. I do know that I think they have it at the high school. I know that they have it at the junior high, where they have. I'm not sure what the room is called. I would call it a bug out room, where when a student gets stressed out in a class, you're allowed to leave that classroom and go down the hall to this other classroom where you can play a game or do whatever it is till you calm down and go back to the classroom because you're being disruptive.
I need one of those for my producer.
Yeah.
Just joking.
Absolutely. No. But I mean, they have these bug out rooms. And instead of actually trying to find out what's wrong with the student and dealing with that issue of why they're becoming disruptive in a classroom, or if they're just being disruptive because they know that they can and there's no discipline involved,
right,
then maybe we need to look at and evaluate why we have that room and why each student is doing that, instead of just having it a blanket, write your own check, walk out of the classroom, go down the hall and do whatever you want. Because there are what we would call in my office frequent flyers. So people who come in all the time for the same thing. So if you've got a student who's a frequent flyer, it's not that they're just having a stressful day. This is how they are, and maybe we need to look at a disciplinary action or something to find and right that system, because the instructors don't have control. I know in some schools that if you have a disruptive student and they want to literally destroy the classroom, that instructors are instructed to take their entire class out into the hallway until that child stops doing what they're doing and it's safe to return to the classroom, and then they can come back. And how long they disrupt class is entirely up to the student who's disrupting.
All right.
So we've given them too much power, I think.
Thank you. Kristina, you want to go ahead and answer that question?
I would love to. So one thing that comes to my mind is, why do we have teachers who are put in this position? They became teachers because they wanted to teach. You cannot teach effectively if you are dealing with challenging behaviors all day long. So for me, I'm pretty passionate about this topic because I've actually witnessed scenarios firsthand myself when it comes to classroom management and trying to somehow solve a problem for a child or for a student, while also making sure the parents are on board. I think that this is also where home to school partnerships come into play, because teachers should not be put in a position where they are having to discipline a child. That is the parent's responsibility. Whatever is happening at home with that child, the parent needs to take responsibility for that and either discipline their child or figure out some method that works for their child, or seek out mental health. And a lot of times these two things are combined. A lot of times you have children who have challenging behaviors. Well, what mental health resources, what support are they getting to deal with some of these emotional, issues that they're facing? And why are we allowing this stuff to come into our classrooms? Teachers are not able to teach, and this is a huge problem that a lot of our local schools are dealing with on a day-to-day basis. You have one child who's coming into a class, or a couple children coming into a classroom. You're removing the rest of the students from that classroom, and then you're placing blame on the school and placing blame on the teachers for that problem. That is not the teacher's fault. That is not the staff's fault. That is coming from a different place. And I think if we are able to step back, regroup, ask ourselves, how can we be a part of the solution, and create and build a partnership with our families, with our parents, whether that's offering them more support, offering them resources, helping them kind of deal with that behavior. Because yes, a child goes home at the end of the day, but they're also returning to us the next morning. And we need to be investing in our children and helping them overcome these things, but also making sure that our staff feel like they are supported. So.
Very good. With that, I got a follow-up question, and this wasn't part of my series of questions, but it just came to my mind when you two were answering this. And I'll start with you, Kristina. Are you for or against corporal punishment being allowed in the classroom?
I think that is a gray area. I am, obviously back in the day, they use rulers, however that worked.
We called it the Board of Education, and
right?
I'm from Texas, and we had them in the classroom.
So I think that this is another thing. We have currently I work for the Head Start program, and one thing that we really do, or at least try to do on an annual basis, is the ACEs scoring. So when you're talking about faculty who if I was for corporal punishment in a classroom setting, I would want to make sure, which I'm not saying I am, but I would first and foremost want to make sure that the teachers are receiving, if they've gone through and they have a high ACE score, or they've gone through some sort of trauma event in their own life, I wouldn't want to entrust them with my child and allowing them to have corporal punishment in a classroom. I think that's a little bit too much of a gray area for me. So I would say no, given our day and age and kind of the issues that we're facing today as a society. I think that you're talking about lawsuits. There are a lot of liability there. There's a lot of things that come into play. But I think that is the parents. Whatever that looks like for the family. But I was spanked as a kid, and I turned out all right. I think a lot of times, there has to be some form of discipline, and that's not always corporal punishment. Sometimes, taking away something from them, or there being some way that the child says, hey, this was wrong. I can't do this again. Whereas nowadays it seems like everything is right. It's based off how we're feeling. It's not about how we're feeling. We can't always justify our actions based off of that. There's right and wrong, and there's a right way to act, and there's a wrong way to act. And no, I'm not for corporal punishment in a classroom, but I do think that parents have a responsibility to make sure their children are growing up emotionally, mentally sound, and also that other children are able to grow up that way as well. Because a lot of times you have a child who creates that much disruption in the classroom, and you have other children who actually are scarred because of that. So.
All right. Thank you very much. Dallas, you want to answer that question?
So I will tell you, I too grew up in an era where we had corporal punishment. The school I went to, you actually had a book you had to sign, and it had to come back by that Friday. If it was not signed and your mom didn't say that you could be spanked, then you had to find a new school, or they would suspend you actually until you brought the book back, and then they would tell you to go find another school. So for me, I guess the issue or the answer isn't as simple as saying yes or no, because it's really not up to me. I don't have a child in the district, so I guess that's something I can't say that people don't know about me. I don't have a child in the district. I have a passion for the students through the groups that I'm affiliated with. So it worked for me, and I think just like in negotiation, if you want to win a negotiation, you always go one step further than the people you're negotiating with are willing to accept, so that they accept your offer. And I think in discipline, we don't have that one step further. I think the students have that. I think the parents have that. But I think that educators don't. So you've lost the negotiation just in the classroom with that. But I do think that if the community wanted it, I think it would be something that would have to be voted on by the community, that I think, it would go that way. And if that's what the community chose, I'd be willing to accept the answer either way. I do know that it worked for me. It didn't hurt me. It's not going to kill you. But like you were saying earlier, that fear is a great motivator. And I will tell you, it's a great thing to tell you to sit down in your chair, because we had a coach that played professional baseball, and he taught econ and civics. And you sat up and you listened in econ and civics. And if you stepped out of line, if you used a cuss word, and I remember distinctly a very large football player that decided to drop the F-bomb in our class, and Coach Horn took him out in the hallway, asked him to pick a number, and this gentleman, who was 6'9" and a little over 300 pounds, came back in the classroom with a tear in his eye, and he sat and he listened, and he didn't do that again. So it's an effective tool, but I really think it's up to the community. It's their students, and it should be their choice.
All right. I like all those answers I'm hearing. We're going to do a commercial, and when we get back, I got a few more questions for you, and with that, we'll be right back.
Stop in today to the all-new one-stop gun shop, Hole in the leader in quality firearms. Hole in the Wall Gun Shop proudly features the top brands of new and used handguns, hunting rifles, black rifles, antique and collectible guns, ammo, mace, and more. Gun cleaning and repair, expert advice, and handgun safety classes for concealed carry permits are offered too. So stop into Hole in the Wall Gun Shop across from Cumion's on Highway 101 South in Coos Bay. We buy, sell, or trade.
The RV business is booming at the Boomin' Y, and Gibbs RV is looking for nice pre-owned RVs to consign or buy. Gibbs RV makes it so simple. They will come to your location, give you a fair appraisal, and help take care of all the paperwork. It doesn't get any easier than that. So let the professionals at Gibbs RV take the hassle out of selling or consigning your RV. Stop by and see them today at 1845 Ocean Boulevard in Coos Bay by the Big Boomin' Y in Empire, or check them out at gibbsrv.com.
Hi, Danny at Far West Tire and Auto here. With the cold, harsh winter months behind us and summer right around the corner, you want to make sure your tires are ready for your adventure. Whether it's off-roading, a drive up the coast, or to the mountains, you want to drive with confidence that only Cooper Tires can provide. With a wide selection of Cooper tires, Far West Tire and Auto has all your tire needs covered. Stop by Far West Tire and Auto on Highway 101 Coos Bay. Always the right tire, always the right price.
I'm the third generation of our family-owned and operated business, Ragin' Coffee Company. For a quarter of a century, we have been providing some of the best coffee around. We are NOP certified organic by Oregon Tilt since 2007, and we make it easy by offering free shipping from our website, RaginCoffeeCo.com. That's RAYJEN CoffeeCo.com. You can find packaged coffee at historic Wilson's Market or the Beverage Barn in Banff. Give it a try. Ragin' Coffee. You'll be hooked.
We're back in session. It's the Rob Taylor Report. And here he is, Rob Taylor.
Hey everybody! Thank you for joining us. We're dealing with a station that's has some. They've been doing a lot of upkeep on their technical systems, and so if you hear a lot of glitches and mistakes, this is live radio. And it's, our producer is a great producer, and there's a lot of times that it's hard and difficult to work with antiquated system or a system that's being upgraded when you know how it is when you have a computer at home and you're trying to upgrade a computer and all of a sudden your other programs just don't work anymore. I know that because I am having trouble with my Office 360 right now, who doesn't want to seem to make any more files for me for some strange reason after Microsoft just did an upgrade. So it's my fault, I'm sure.
It knows something that you don't know.
I know my computer knows something I don't know. I'm thankful I'm not married to it. So, so with that, I've got a couple of more questions here, and I think it was Dallas. You finished up with that last one, didn't you?
I believe so. Yes, sir.
All right. So this is going to be a very controversial one because we're facing this right now in the legislature. But do you think that students should be allowed in the public school system, or should they be? Or let me read this correctly. Should the public school system deny access to students without vaccinations?
So this is another one of those topics. It's really hard because this is science, and I know that there are vaccine injuries, but there's also injuries with just a normal injection of any kind of medicine that they might give you. So you can be injured getting a vaccine. You can be injured getting a life-saving medication. So any of those things can injure you, and the fear that people have spread with those kind of things, which has now caused a measles outbreak that I guess that we haven't seen like this in 20 or 30 years. It's hard to say that you have to do this, but if I had a child that might be exposed, say in the Portland school system or over in New York where they're having it as well, that I would probably want folks to be vaccinated. I know that I had to have my vaccines. Again, we had metal dashboards, and we had the Board of Education literally handed to us, and we had to have our vaccines to go to school. Nobody died. I don't know anybody back then who had vaccine injury, but I do know that people are very passionate about it. And I do know that it's their choice. Oregon has made sure that they have the choice. You can back out for any reason. So if we're going to change how that is, I think it's going to be up to Oregon. It's going to have to be changed either in the community, and they'll have to pass those rules, those laws themselves. I just don't like government telling us what to do just without our input. So it's in the rules now that you can not be vaccinated based on Oregon law, and I disagree with. I think you should be vaccinated. So I think we should change it. But until we do, this is what we deal with, and I'm willing to accept what the people have chosen. I mean, this is what they want, and you get to pick where you live. That's kind of how it works.
All right, Kristina, you want to answer the same question?
So I don't necessarily think this is a pro-vaccine, anti-vaccine argument. I think that there's a rooted foundational issue here that that more extends to how much do we want to be told as parents what we can and cannot do regarding our decisions for our children. They are our children. They're not the government's children. They are our children. I think that this is a very heated, emotional debate. I mean, there's a lot of people in support of required vaccines, and there's a lot of people in support of, not allowing this bill to pass. I believe it just passed the House today and is heading on to the Senate. And this isn't a Democrat-Republican issue. This is not what that is. I think that this is an issue regarding what parents feel comfortable with choices being made for their children that they are not involved in. Personally, I think this is a government overreach. I think that myself being a parent, I do not want to be told what I'm supposed to do for my children. I want to make that choice for myself. I am a good parent. I do believe in myself as a parent having the right to say, I do not want this for my child. I also believe in individual freedom. I believe in individual choices. I believe that that's constitutional. And looking at the greater good, I do understand that. But I think that when you take individual freedom away from people, you're not necessarily creating a solution. You're creating more issues there. I'm not necessarily against vaccines. I don't agree with how the bill is written. I think that, by August 2020, children who haven't been vaccinated have to have these vaccines within the next year. And I don't agree with segregating. I don't think these children have a right to be a part of our school systems. They have a right to be a part of sports. They have a right to be a part of their classroom settings. And I don't think that taking that away from them, I just think it's going to create a lot of issues educationally. And I think taking students out of the education field because they haven't received their required vaccines is not the appropriate way to go about this. So that's my personal opinion.
And again, like I was saying, that's the government voting on it, just the House and the Senate. They're not putting it to the people.
Exactly.
I think it belongs. Yes. That's not their decision to make. Yeah.
So both of you would say that you would prefer to see this go to a vote of the people.
Absolutely.
100%.
It's affecting families and parents, and I think that it is a vote for individuals to make. It has to do with their children.
This is something that you're talking about, protecting the community. We'll let the community decide how they want to be protected.
Yes.
Because as far as I'm concerned, the same as her is the same as Kristina is that the government can't control people, and by control people I mean tell you what to do. And this would be telling you what to do. But we can manage outcomes. Somebody drinks too much, we pull them over, we write them a ticket, they go to jail. Kind of the same thing. You choose not to vaccinate, then you have to accept the consequences of what's going to happen later on. Maybe you get a disease, maybe you don't. But that's your choice, not the government's choice.
I always think of the story of Ben Franklin when he was traveling around promoting the smallpox vaccination, and he didn't get his own child vaccinated, and his child died of smallpox. talk about the irony here. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
We're going to switch gears a little bit. Herbal Choices. It's a cannabis dispensary. It's a sponsor of this show. And the owner of Herbal Choices, has offered a $10,000 scholarship to several school districts. It was Bandon, Coos Bay, and North Bend. North Bend and Coos Bay school districts refused the money. Should the district have accepted the scholarship money, and what would you tell the parents of the students who lost this funding?
So
I'll start with you,
okay.
Kristina.
So I'd like to know why the districts refused that funding. I think that would be my first question, is what was the reasoning behind that? Yep. I think, did it come with certain stipulations? I mean, I just don't really know the specifics around that decision. So I don't feel like I have, really not the authority, but I don't really feel like I have the ability to answer that question as far as should they or should they have not, because I think if they didn't, I'm sure that there was some verifiable reason why they didn't. So I just don't know the specifics around that choice.
Mine would be along the same lines. I agree with Kristina, but the first thing I would say is please contact the College Foundation, Elise Hamner, and start a scholarship there. The college would be happy to accept your money. So if you are listening, Elise Hamner is who you want to talk to on Southwestern's campus. But beyond that, I agree the same thing. It doesn't really matter where the money comes from. It's a legal business in Oregon now. So I don't see it as a problem anymore. It'd be different if this was coming from illegal drug sales. But the people in Oregon voted that this was going to be legalized. And I will tell you, when you're moonlighting in college as a bouncer, that I would much rather have folks come in that have been partaking of cannabis than partaking in alcohol. They are a lot less violent unless you take their Slurpee. No, it's I really, it doesn't matter where the money comes from. I mean, this is about students. When it comes down to it, this is about the money going for students, and we're talking about scholarships. And I think it's a great idea. I commend him for trying to give money to the school districts, and I have to ask what their thinking is on that. Why you would not want to accept that money, because it's not about your morals. This is about doing right by the students in your community. So don't judge how somebody else is trying to help the students in their community.
All right. I like those answers. And I like how you put an ad in for the college with that too. That was very creative.
Hey, I like to help students. It doesn't matter
anyway,
where it's at.
Yeah, I agree.
I work with the foundation every year. We do a big ask for them, and
and
we get
I didn't
scholarships every
understand
year.
why. Hey, and in fact, I think I had talked to Jim just last week. He's the owner of Herbal Choices, and he was talking about how they were going to offer Bandon two $5,000 scholarships in lieu of one of the school districts not taking it. So Bandon did get a little bit extra money where North Bend and Coos Bay
Good for
didn't.
them,
So
though.
good
Yeah,
for
that's
them,
great.
And Bandon's a little town, and I'll be honest with you, most of those scholarships never get used, unfortunately, and that's a huge problem.
Well,
with
I'll
that.
tell you, the ones that the foundation do, they give out a lot of them. And this year, the Beetham family, so DB Western,
Yes.
They actually gave an endowment to the foundation. So the largest single scholarship donation ever to Southwestern, they gave $500,000.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
It was
is
pretty
very
awesome.
cool.
Good for DB.
Yeah, so they did that so that they could have science and health. So the new building that they're building at Southwestern, so that they could have scholarships for science and health students in perpetuity. So they gave the endowment $500,000. It was a great thing this year.
That's very cool.
If you are listening, give it to the Southwestern Community College.
Well, since you're there at the mic, I'm going to go ahead and you're going to answer this next question. What legislation would you support that you think is needed to benefit the schools?
Legislation that I would support. Wow, I actually haven't even thought about this question.
That's why I
because
ask them.
I'm not a legislator. I really I'm more about grassroots and what we can do in the community than trying to legislate for the entire state, because it's community, and we should be on board for educating our students, and I don't want our community or any other community trying to tell this group how to educate their students. It's our choice. These are our children, and these people make those decisions. So to do like a bill for education, I mean, they always want more funding. My thing, if I could do one thing for education in Oregon, would be to kick the unions out of it. And I would make it so that you could you can actually get rid of people who are underperforming, because I think a lot of the problems that we have is that you get educators in there that might be lazy, and it's not an every time thing, but we have them in every walk of life anywhere, where people are just kind of like passing on by and they just do the minimal. And I think that students deserve more than minimal. I think they deserve the ability to get rid of an underperforming instructor, like we can with administrators. I mean, they're exempt, so they're not under union protection. So I think that everybody should be treated the same, equal, and fairly in education. So if that's the thing I could do, that's what I would do.
All right. Kristina, you want to answer that question?
So I definitely agree with the fact that, we're basing our decisions off our community, but I think a lot of our legislation trickles down to our communities and does affect our communities firsthand. So two things came to mind. One was parents. I think any things that are passed regarding parents and just supporting families as a whole is critical to our communities and making sure that we have healthy, happy, and stable families. The second thing is mental health services. I think that is a very overlooked, just a very overlooked area that we're not focusing as much of our efforts and resources towards. I think that a lot of our kids are dealing with a lot of tragedies, crisis situations, and we need to provide more mental health services for both them and their families. There's a lot more things that they're having to deal with nowadays than bullying, cyberbullying, a lot of different things that they're dealing with now that I never had to deal with as a child in school. So I think if we can provide more mental health services and funding for that, I would be in support of that.
All right. Thank you very much. Those are two great answers. And I think that one of the reasons I wanted to ask you that, and I'm glad you answered it, was you are going to have to face the legislation that's coming out of Salem. And a lot of times I don't think they get enough feedback from people who are on the school boards about what the school board needs. And sometimes it's just money, 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 And so I'm glad you answered that. And with that, I think we're going to go with a break.
For 20 years, the Oregon Firearms Federation has been Oregon's only no-compromise voice for gun rights. While other organizations who claim to speak for gun owners made deals to bargain away your liberty and property, office stood face-to-face with the gun grabbers in Salem to protect your rights. But there's never been a more dangerous time to be a gun owner in Oregon, and we need your help. To become part of the fight for Second Amendment rights and to sign up for free legislative alerts, please visit our website at OregonFirearms.org. That's OregonFirearms.org.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, Genucel right now is having their 50% off limited time sale. It's their half price clearance sale. And if you order Genucel to get rid of bags and puffiness under your eyes, you'll also get Chamonix's brand new Platinum Tan Enhancing Body Lotion. That's a free gift. Perfect hydration, tan, and protection to rejuvenate, hydrate, maintain that bright summer glow with a lotion unlike anything you can buy in any store. So sit back, relax, enjoy the beach with the best looking skin possible and no bags or puffiness under your eyes. They're gone. Everybody I know that's tried Genucel from Chamonix loves it, swears by it. Linda, Lauren, and so many others. Call now 800-SKIN-509, 800-SKIN-509, guaranteed to work in 12 hours. Your money back guaranteed, no risk to you. You'll also get the Platinum Tan Enhancing Body Lotion free while supplies last. And if you call now, shipping is free. It's 800-SKIN-509. It's the half-price summer clearance sale at Genucel.com. 1-800-SKIN-509 from our friends at Chamonix and Genucel.
Investments and securities involve the risk of loss. Ken Fisher, founder and executive chairman of Fisher Investments.
We don't sell annuities. We'll never sell annuities. Most annuities have nosebleed level fees, don't do what the customer thinks they do, have tremendous tax problems, are hard to get out of once you're in them, and are extremely confusing.
Don't let the sound of guaranteed income lead you to financial headache. Call now for your free report, Annuity Insights, and find out why legendary money manager Ken Fisher hates annuities. Call 1-800-770-3377 and see what you might be getting into.
Anything you want to do with annuities, there's a better way to do. If you have more than $500,000 to invest, talk to us.
Get your free report, Annuity Insights, and find out the 9 questions every annuity investor should ask. Call now, 1-800-770-3377. That's 1-800-770-3377.
There's a common assumption about identity theft. A lot of people believe it's just credit card fraud, but credit card fraud isn't the only form of identity theft. And if you're just protecting your identity by monitoring your credit and checking your bank statements, well, you could miss some forms of identity theft. Like, for example, your information being for sale on the dark web. That means somebody getting an online payday loan in your name, or even someone draining your 401k. Now, thank God there's LifeLock. Now, they use proprietary technology to detect and alert you to a wide range of identity threats. You have a problem, one of their U.S.-based restoration specialists will work to fix it. Now, we can't prevent all identity theft, monitor every transaction, but with LifeLock.com, you can see more than you'd see by just monitoring your credit. Join now. You get a 10% discount just by visiting LifeLock.com/Hannity, or just call 1-800-LifeLock. Use the promo code Hannity. LifeLock.com/Hannity and save 10%.
We're back in session. It's the Rob Taylor Report. And here he is, Rob Taylor.
Hey, everybody. Thank you for joining us. We're in the middle of a candidate debate, and if you want to ask any questions, you need to give us a call at 541-267-2124, and we will respond to that and get you on the air to ask those questions. I'm asking questions right now of Kristina Simpson and Dallas Petenbrink.
Petenbrink. There's an N in there. That's okay.
Okay.
It's all right. Petenbrink. It's like Pete in Brink. It looks intimidating, but it's easier. Yeah. I'll break it down for you phonetically. And yeah.
Okay. So this is one of those off the wall questions. But what is going to be the next innovation in education? And I'm going to start with Kristina.
Ooh. That's a kind of a broad, open-ended question. Innovation. I like that word. I would say anything that has to do with technology is up and coming. I think that the kids, our students that we have nowadays have been more exposed to more technology in the last, I would say several years. So, I think you're going to see a lot more classroom settings with iPads and laptops and those, the screens that drop down where you can do like all the different lesson plans and all that stuff on the screen, carrying out those things via technology. I think that more of our kids are going home and they're on their phones and they're on their cell phones and their parents are on their phones. So I think it's almost just becoming like a daily thing. And so I think anything that has to do with technology is probably something that will be we'll see in our schools more of that implemented.
All right. Thank you. Dallas, go for it.
I'm going to have to go with that too. At the college, I'm actually, I hate because I'm cheating. I'm actually in charge of purchasing and studying classroom technology because we have to install it there. So, but it will be technology that comes into the classroom. It's interconnectivity between devices and things. And I know that they have desks that they're actually looking at that would be interconnected with screens built in to the desk. So there's not something that the kids have to take in and go, and they'll be wired.
Yeah.
And then the screens, the information that you see would be controlled from the front of the classroom by the instructor. So it makes it a whole lot easier for the information that you're trying to put up if you're asking them to turn to a page and you have to wait for the entire class versus being able to send this stuff out and you have it available and it is interactive on your desktop. So I think that the information delivery is going to be the thing that's going to happen, is how we get it out to the students and present it to them will be the next big innovation in a classroom.
All right. Hey, Bill, do we have a giveaway for this? All right. Before we go to a commercial, I have that second giveaway for the second hour, and it's for Lucky Star, one of my favorite restaurants. They have really great chicken fried rice and sesame seed chicken. But right now, if you want to win the house special, it includes barbecue pork, sweet and sour pork, fried shrimp, spring roll, pork fried rice, and pork chow mein. And to get that, all you have to do is be the third caller at 541-267-2124, and we'll be right back.
Looking for a new or used firearm? You should get to know the friendly folks at World Pawn Exchange. Located at 1980 Sherman in downtown North Bend, World Pawn Exchange buys, sells, and trades firearms of all types. And with their extensive, ever-changing inventory, they could have just the right firearm for you. If they don't have that gun that you want in stock, they'll be more than happy to special order it for you. World Pawn Exchange in downtown North Bend, where you'll find more than you can possibly imagine.
This here's Milo and Lyle for Bayshore Auto, your one-stop auto store. Lyle, did you know Bayshore Auto is AAA approved? Yep. And did you know that they're ASE certified? Yep, I did. And did you know that they got high-quality auto value parts? Uh-huh, everybody knows that, Milo. You think? Yep, don't take no genius spot a giraffe in a buffalo herd. Bayshore Auto on Highway 101 at 1887 North Bayshore Drive. They stand real tall.
The clear leader, Herbal Choices. Join the Herbal Choices happy family for best selection. 100 strains, always fresh. Unlike stores that always have the same old products, there's always something new at Herbal Choices. 100 strains and growing. And check Jim Belushi's new harvest. Just in again and better than ever at Herbal Choices. Coos Bay, Charleston, and Bandon. And online at theherbalchoices.com.
Hey, Jim Belushi here. Herbal Choices on the southern Oregon coast is where you can find my new harvest, Belushi's Private Vault. Check it out.
And reasons are clear. With 100 strains, Herbal Choices sells so much product that everything is always fresh, and there seems to be something new every time I see my Herbal Choices happy family. All our friends agree. The clear winner is Herbal Choices, the only choice.
Check it out. It's the only choice.
Do not operate a vehicle under the influence of marijuana. For use by people 21 and older, keep out of the reach of children.
We're back in session. It's the Rob Taylor Report. And here he is, Rob Taylor.
Hey. Hello, there we are. There I am. Okay, I can hear myself now. It worries me when I do that. Sometimes I wake up in the morning, it's too dark, and I think, oh, I might be dead. We're going to go ahead and go to our final statements. They got 2 minutes each, and if we have any time left, then we're just going to go ahead and talk a little bit because we're having a really good time in the studio. I think you've got two really incredibly good candidates here. I feel sorry for you people in North Bend because you got two good choices, and that third.
I don't, because we do have two good choices.
I know, and that third guy who didn't show up, man, he's kicking himself right now. He's listening to this right now, going, "Damn it, I should have came in." Okay, so that's all right, but I'm going to start with Kristina. I'm going to let her do her final statement, and then I'm going to let Dallas do his, and if there's any time, we'll talk about whatever comes to mind. Go ahead, Kristina.
Well, first of all, Rob, I just want to thank you for inviting me on your show today in Dallas. It was very nice to meet you, and good luck in your run. It was a pleasure joining the show today. This is my first time being on radio, so I was a little nervous, but I think it went better than I expected. So,
it went real well. Yeah.
We had a lot of fun today. So I think I just want to leave the show letting our listeners know that I'm here for our students, I'm here for our families, I'm here for our parents, our faculty, and our staff. I really would love the opportunity to serve our community in this way. Ever since I moved here from the Portland area about 8 years ago, I felt like our community has just really, I've had a lot of opportunities here to grow. And I have two of my own children who will be entering into the North Bend School District in the next couple years. I have a 3 and a 2-year-old. So I'm wanting to pave a path for them, but also pave a path for our students who are currently in the North Bend School District. I really would like to have the opportunity to serve our faculty and our staff in that way, but also to be a voice for those people who maybe feel like they have not been heard. So I would just appreciate your vote, and yeah, it was a pleasure being on here today. So
all right.
Thank you.
Well, thank you, and thank you for running because, like I said, it takes a lot to run for office, and I appreciate you doing it, Dallas.
So I guess I'm going to, I forgot to do all the wonderful stuff in the opening statement to let everybody know who I am, where I came from, I guess. So I am actually from the South, not California, the deep South, actually, from Louisiana and Texas area. Did come up here. I graduated Marshfield. So please don't hold that against me, North Bend. I still love you guys. That's where I live. But like Kristina, I enjoy giving back to my community. I'm involved with a lot of volunteer organizations, a lot of veterans groups, a lot of student groups. Was with Miskatonic County for several years and helped produce their show. Really like what they do to empower young ladies. It's a great thing. And now I think they have the folks from the Mr. Bulldog competition really helping out with Miskatonic County now.
I thought that got canceled.
They did, but you've got to take those people with great motivation and find a place to apply that. And I think that some of them have come on over there. There's a great family that helps run all that, and it's a lot of energy, just great people, and really, really happy to be working with those guys. But beyond that, I do love, like I said, serving the community, the opportunity to give back to a community that's given me so much, and to represent some of the voices that I have to hear in the theater that come in and talk to me about what's going on, where they're at, and things that they'd like to see done better. They've really been the ones that kind of inspired me to want to do this. Because like I said, I don't have a child in the district, but I do work with a lot of the students, and I think that a lot of them feel that they're not supported at that level. And I'd like to give them that support and at least let them feel like they have a voice, because I'm around them all the time.
Do both of you have children in the school districts?
I do not, but I will in the next couple of years. Mine are still fairly young.
Still fairly young. Oh, that's the fun age. Yeah, wait till they're 20. You can go see The Office next door, and you can see what you get in a few years.
And I have no children. No children in the fight, but
well, why not? What's keeping you behind? You got to get moving there, buddy. Come on. You need a coach. You need some cheering section here. Or what?
You know what I found out early on that I spend a lot of time working and volunteering and helping out. So much so that I see my wife on the way to bed and in the morning when she leaves for work. And so when we have our downtime, which is vacation and stuff like that, to be able to have that time and take it and not have to worry about anything else. So I guess maybe it's just down to me being selfish with that time.
Right.
It's probably why I didn't have kids, and I would hate to make them suffer for that. Because I am so busy that when I do want my downtime, that's what that is. But that's probably why I don't. So, because I literally am working or volunteering or doing something.
You're your only child, is
daylight
what
to
that
dark.
is. Let's be honest.
And I am. Yes. I have a lot in common with them. With gaming and things like that. As a matter of fact, we have an esports team on campus now, so that's kind of cool. And I think that'll be coming to high schools eventually. So
that was the nice thing about having a kid, is then you don't have to explain to your friends why you have all the toys. And
right.
So that helps out.
Yeah,
but
you can still play on the Xbox and be like, no, I bought it for my son.
Really, I did.
Nice
yeah.
excuse.
You both are. We didn't really talk about this, but they had that big incident over there at North Bend with the ACLU. Well, how do you guys think that was handled? I mean, you think they did the right thing about that? Did you think the principal was handled well with that?
You want me to go, or you want to go?
You can go.
Yeah. Both of them are hedging. Both of them. I should have asked this question when I was asking questions.
She can filter her answer after mine.
Okay.
So my problem with that was the handling of the fact that the board there basically kind of yielded power to an outside entity. Yeah. And like I was saying earlier, I think it's real important that the community be responsible for itself. And
Absolutely.
I think I would have liked to have seen the school board take a more active role and be more front runner in that, in creating the policy and fixing the issue that festered under them. And I don't think Bill Lucero was treated fairly by an outside agency, because they don't know what he has done here. So I just, more accountability, I think, at the school board level is what we needed, and we needed more ideas there than having it controlled by an outside agency. So that was kind of my view of it, albeit far out and not really into it. But local stuff should stay local. And if we can't solve it after that, then maybe we need to ask for help from another agency that may be more familiar with the problem. But I think that we should have at least taken a stab at it.
They kind of yield it really quick, right?
Yes.
Yeah. That was the problem that I was having.
And the other,
I agree completely. Yeah.
Okay. And the other controversial that we kind of touched on it was with your opening statement about the gender neutral bathroom. And this is what I got bugged about it, is I'm all for it. I think all of us agreed we're all for a single bathroom. I think we kind of like the idea.
Absolutely.
Why did the school have to call it a gender neutral bathroom and kind of stir up that that controversy, being something that's pro transsexual or transgender instead of making it something that was a little more benign?
I think that there's a lot of fear behind some of these decisions. I mean, just personally, I think that schools don't really want to be put maybe in, I'm not really sure, but in my opinion, I feel like let's just, step back and let an outside person or an outside agency handle this so that we don't have to be accountable or so that we don't have to face it front and center. And I think a lot of it is communication. Why can't we solve this ourselves? Like, what's the issue here? And so, and also not so focusing on, quote unquote, not the minority, but what about all these parents who are not comfortable with gender neutral bathrooms? Why are we not taking their opinion into consideration rather than focusing on
the tail wagging the dog?
Exactly. Yeah. So for me, I try to look, is this benefiting the whole or is this benefiting a select group of people? And if it's not benefiting the whole, I can't really say I'm in favor of it. So,
okay, you guys are in that generation. Did you see the South Park with Cartman who had the single?
I don't watch that show.
I'm right there with you.
All right, maybe it's just me. I'm sorry. I threw myself under the bus here, and I'm the cartoon watcher. But talking about you guys' ages. I noticed that you didn't have a problem with the herbal choices and that grant. I find that people who are 20 years older than you or even older than that, I would have got the opposite answer, and that's why I think it's interesting that I have young people on here.
And that's why we're talking about we need fresh blood on these boards because it's a different perspective.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Because for me, it's a legal business.
Right.
Their money's green like everybody else's, like their product.
Right, their product.
And it spends the same for the students. For me, it's not. If you were against this morally, I totally understand, and that's your objection.
Right.
But again, you have to kind of balance that against the students' needs. And this isn't about your moral objections. This is about, are we using legal good money from a legal business to do a good thing for the community? Then we should do it. I think that's what we do.
Why does everything have to be an argument?
Well, it doesn't.
Why can't we just come to the table and talk about it? Why does it have to be an argument?
This isn't a debate.
How long have you been married, my dear? Come on.
I know, right?
Rob, thank you very much for having us today.
Thank you.
I want to thank both of you. If you guys are listening, that music's coming up. We're just about out of here, and I want to thank Dallas and Kristina for coming in. It's not always easy to do this, and I thank them for running for office. Next time, when there's a next election, I hope you take the chance to do the same thing. And with that, I'll see you all next week.
This is 630 and 101.1 FM. Listen online at KWRO.com.
No Trump tax returns?